Rebrushed? I wonder what happens if I... Oh, no! No! Ah yes, Michael Theodore Mouse, better known as Disney's most beloved mascot, Mickey Mouse. Safe to say that we all know and love this character and their kind-hearted nature. And then there's Epic Mickey, the reincarnation of the devil himself. I've been a Mickey fan for as long as I can remember, and to prove my love for this character, I decided to 100% all of the Epic Mickey games in 100 hours. In order to be Epic Mickey, I have to collect 105 pins, 36 film reels, 50 concept arts, save all 30 gremlins, and 2 cartoons. Now, I love this series, but it's far from perfect. Something that ruins the experience for me is how the gameplay is structured. Every time you enter a new stage of the game, you're assigned some new obnoxious mission that feels more like a chore instead of progression. You'll be constantly greeted by dozens of NPCs going, "Hey Mickey, beat my record and I'll give you a power spark. Hey Mickey, find me a dog tag in Tomorrow City. Hey Mickey, don't f***ing kill my cousin please." And all of this stuff is just kind of useless. Most of the side quests are not useful at all. They just make the game harder to fully beat. Collecting pins grants you absolutely nothing. Beating the base game can take you 3 to 4 hours at max if you're comfortable with the commands. Going for 100% requires 3 runs, in which you have to look after collectibles that are scattered in the most oblivious spots imaginable. I really haven't said much about what I felt while playing the game because my brain was on pilot mode. Having to come to a full stop, checking a video guide and going back to the game every 5 to 10 minutes was so draining as shit. But I'm just glad I wouldn't have to come back to this game. Oh, come on. This game wouldn't even require a third run if it wasn't for one single mission, which is Damien Saltz's. There are 4 possible outcomes, but more on that later. What really takes me off about these quests is that one wrong decision might cost you an entire run. If you fail some of the quests, you'll be completely locked from unlocking certain pins or collectibles. That kinda stinks, but at least there's New Game Plus, which essentially carries over all of your film reels and pins but deletes all of the progress that you've made. Epic Mickey revolves around the concept of playstyle matters, but it also sucks. When taking the thinner path, aka the bad side, the only thing you're gonna get in return is someone calling you an asshole and nothing else. It would have been cool to see more consequences, which is actually something that was scrapped because Mickey's appearance was gonna change depending by the decisions he took through the game. But instead, more of the blood comes out of him when his thinner meter is at max. I know I've been talking shit for quite some time now, but I do definitely love a lot of the things that they've implemented. You move around Wasteland by using these projectors, which are all inspired by old Mickey Mouse cartoons, and even the Oswald ones. For being on a Wii, I gotta say that this game looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm really glad a remake came out because these worlds look awesome in HD. I'm also a really big fan of the animation for the cutscenes, but why do the characters grunt instead of talking? Huh? It's Disney we're talking about. I'm sure you could have afforded voice actors, but you just chose not to, you lazy fuck. Gameplay wise, I think the platforming is alright. Some parts of the game invite you to explore the environment and discover new secrets on your own, but there's still a decent chunk of platforms here and there. One thing I will complain about, however, is the camera. Sometimes it's so zoomed in that I can barely see a thing and it's very easy to mess up my jumps. Besides, I'm playing with a nunchuck and a Wii remote and it's kinda hard to get around the motion controls. I didn't really do much other than grind e-tickets and complete a bunch of quests. I'm not a big fan of the boss fights though. The patterns are very repetitive. The Mag Doctors doesn't even feel like a boss fight. You just have to dodge all of the beetleworks and destroy the generator or get this card to do it for you. The only one that gets a pass is Captain Hook's, because the thinner and paint path fights are respectively very different from each other. In the thinner path, you have to literally make Hook walk the plank. In the paint path, you have to climb your way up to the top of the ship to free the sprite so that Pete Pan can fight Hook himself. But I'd say I hate the final boss the most. Not the shadow blot, the actual blot. All you do is destroy these tentacles by popping their f***ing pimples. Whose idea was this? And you do the same thing inside of the blot 4 times. Very mid to say the least. Anyways, I beat the game twice, both with paint and thinner, and now I'm only missing Damien Salt's quest. This is gonna be a little bit difficult to explain, so... Oh, Toodles! Oh, faster than usual, I like that. We can either give Henrietta the flowers and fix the pumps in Skull Island, give the ice cream and ignore the pumps, give the flowers and ignore the pumps, and give the ice cream and fix the pumps. Now, you might be wondering, If the outcomes are 4, why do I only need 3 runs? If you said because the last option is fucking useless, you'd be correct! After a really long time, we get the final pin, and this game took me a total of 18 hours, 22 minutes, and 11 seconds. That was a chore, but the pain is nowhere near over. Matter of fact, Epic Mickey 2. Wow. What a letdown. In order to beat this game, I have to collect 176 pins, 16 film reels, obtain all the sketches and their upgrades, free all 12 spirits, collect all 11 costumes, and unlock all 44 achievements. Before I start talking this game, let me list a few things that it does well. They now implemented voice acting in the cutscenes, and they did a pretty good job if I say so myself.
Oh gosh, that was a doozy of a landing. But I sure am glad to see you guys. What's going on?
There's a bunch of new costumes for both Oswald and Mickey, and last but not least, multiplayer, which is not on the Steam version. Speak of the devil, the version of Steam fucking stinks. This game got updated a few years ago, saying that some glitches were patched, but it's bullshit. Most of the cutscenes crashed my game, so I had to manually turn them off by changing the game files. This game is rough, like really rough. Story-wise, it's awful. The doctor is mad. Again, it's basically the same story as the first game, but the plot has been replaced with earthquakes. You know what really baffles me? Look at how f***ing good Rainbow Caverns looks. This is what comes after Rainbow Caverns. Holy drop in quality, this is disgusting! And that's the thing about most of the stages. They're trying to go for this destroyed city vibe because of the earthquakes, but still, Mean Street is so damn ugly. The colors are pale and it just doesn't look nice. Also, you have the amazing idea of splitting Mean Street in two. Why would you do that? It just makes the game even more annoying to traverse. Near the end of the game, you're gonna need to visit these two places constantly to complete different quests, such as bringing stuff to the museum, random objects to Gremlin Copernicus, and so much more. Fortunately, you only need one run to get all of the pins. Unfortunately, this achievement exists. All I have to do is beat the base game first without fixing any of the train stations. That's an extra 2 hours of my life will never get back. Of course, the developers learned nothing from the first game and they made grabbing every pin even more annoying. To give an example, the Thanks for the Memories quest requires you to take a picture of the Thinner Falls in Rainbow Caverns, the train in Disney Gulch, the Cuckoo Clock in Fort Wasteland, the Beetleworks in front of the pirate ship in the float yard, and the garage in Autotopia. You are forced to hand these pictures out one by one, so no, you can't just beat the game and give them all at the end, but you have to turn in one and enable the next. After turning in every picture, you have to backtrack to all of these places again from top to bottom in order to buy the pins that Rigger Green offers you. This is the longest and worst quest in the entire game. 100% in this game is an absolute nightmare, even more than the first one. During regular gameplay, there's so many things that you have to look out for. You have to constantly check every corner to make sure you're not missing any hidden Mickeys or Oswalds, take a picture of every enemy, check for hidden chests, or golden pieces of cloth, and so on. Safe to say, they also made the boss fights even worse here. They decided to make Gremlin Prescott evil, and this is the longest and most boring out of them all. There's only 3 boss fights too, with the final one being pretty boring. I also forgot to mention this, but in the ending cutscenes in Epic Mickey 1, they showed that a part of the plot was still in Mickey, implying that he was gonna make some sort of return in the second game. But the blob particles are gone. I know it was because they were running out of time, but that detail still pisses me off. Anyways, after a pretty boring grind, I managed to beat Epic Mickey 2 The Power of 2 in 18 hours, 2 minutes, and 52 seconds. I had to replay the game a third time because I accidentally gave Seth the Mickey picture instead of Oswald's and couldn't get his achievement. This goes to show just how punishing a game like this can be. If you thought Epic Mickey 2 was bad, and you better get ready for it. In order to beat this game, I have to rescue all 24 characters, upgrade all of the rooms to 4 stars, buy everything in Scrooge's store, get every upgrade, and complete all of the characters' quests. Man, these games long quests way too much. This game released alongside Epic Mickey 2 The Power of 2 for the Nintendo 3DS. Obviously, the 3DS wasn't powerful enough to support a game like that, so instead, while this game does include the brush mechanics, it's heavily inspired by the Castle of Illusion series, another Mickey Mouse 2D platformer. I even heard a single person talk about this game, probably because it's just really bad. The pacing is horrendous. Most of the times you have to come to a full stop in order to traverse the levels. Sometimes you have to paint on objects on the 3DS's bottom screen, and it's a very slow process that gets repetitive very fast. I don't know why they did this, considering you can shoot out paint just fine. However, they somehow made the story even worse than The Power of 2. This game just f***ing gives everything away. Mickey gets called again by Oswald, who tells him that a random floating castle has appeared and that all of the toons, including Minnie, are trapped inside. Mickey heads to Wasteland, and the developers had the genius idea to reveal at the very beginning of the game that the Minnie who's trapped inside the castle isn't real. Why would you tell me this from the very beginning? What am I playing for then? At least give me some suspense or something. Tell me that at the end so I won't feel as disappointed. Also, I know this is a me problem, but to record the footage, I use the 3DS software called Arctic Base, which allows me to stream my 3DS gameplay on any 3DS emulator like Azuhar without installing any illegal game files and being able to improve the graphics. Sounds fantastic, right? Yeah! Well, here's the problem. When using this software, the screen moves to my computer while my 3DS acts as a controller, and the touchscreen works just fine. The problem is, I can't see shit. The emulator shows me the bottom screen, but it's harder to draw because I have to accurately guess where the line starts. Otherwise, I'm just gonna mess everything up and my entire payment will immediately drain. Onto the game itself, I really don't like it. There's only about 10 levels and a shit ton of quests. Again! A few of these can be as basic as painting an object or talking to another character to get another item, but these are just the easy ones. If you thought the backtracking in the first 2 games was bad, you replay the same levels at least 4 times each. You rescue a character, talk to him, he tells you to get him an object or save his friends, and once you do, he'll have even more quests for you. And when you upgrade a room to 3 stars, you will get another quest. And it doesn't help that Mickey is insanely f***ing slow. And they also managed to make the sketches even more useless than in the first 2 games. They're completely unnecessary for the base game. You can just avoid using them. When you do use them, you waste so much paint. As for the difficulty level, it wasn't hard at all. The only time I found myself raging was during the final boss. I had gotten every upgrade imaginable, but the pain meter still felt so unfair. I kept on messing up the tracing, and when these green fireballs attack you, the only way to dodge them is by painting a spiky bush that acts as a shield. So, it took a lot of tries, but eventually I did it, and it took me a total of 9 hours, 3 minutes, and 57 seconds. And I think at least 3 of these hours I spent backtracking and upgrading rooms. This felt more like a Kirby game if anything. Looking at the enemies, there are barely any Bloodwings and absolutely no beetleworks whatsoever. Instead, we got yet another version of Pete that's dressed up as a blue shell from Mario Kart. Yes, I'm playing the same exact game again, except this time I have to collect 156 concept arts, 112 pins, 72 movie reels, save 30 gremlins, and obtain all 3 cartoons. They basically took the base game and put it on steroids. But man, this is exactly what I expect from a remake. Nothing more, nothing less. First of all, the game is gorgeous, it looks fantastic, and it can easily run above 60 FPS. That is, if you're not playing on a Nintendo Switch. Mickey also has a bunch of new moves that speed up the gameplay significantly. He can now run, dash, and even ground pound. I also discovered a little tech with his new jump. When you're using his double jump, if you immediately use his spin move right after, you get a huge height boost that was insanely useful, especially in the projectile levels. They even added a bunch of scrapped animations, like Mickey wiggling his ass when he wins a race. There's a bunch of changes to the sound effects too, which, if I have to be honest, they feel very unnecessary. I like the ones in the first game, while these feel a little too modern. Regardless, they brought back the costumes, half of which are locked behind paid DLC. But riddle me this, they ported every costume from Epic Mickey 2 but left out Sorcerer's Apprentice. That was like the best one! But man, you can tell just how much love they put into this game. They reanimated all of the CGI cutscenes, and they're spectacular. The lighting is so freaking good. I've been saying a lot of great things, but oh my god, why are there so many concept arts? You have no idea how much of a pain in the butt it was to grab all of these. Every level has at least 2 or 3 of these. I had to have a guide at all times. It was even worse than a Wii one. At least buying the items in the shop was significantly easier because the game is very generous with the amount of e-tickets you can get. One other important change is that the cursor is now connected to the camera, so they don't have to get behind the dumb motion controls. Although for some reason, painting and erasing toon doesn't feel as satisfying. In the remake, it feels like I'm painting chunks of a wall, like it's divided in different pieces. I don't really have much to say about this because it's just Epic Mickey all over again, but Rebrushed took me a total of 16 hours, 11 minutes, and 37 seconds. Despite the crazy amount of extra collectibles, I somehow beat the game faster than the Wii version. Don't ask me how I did it. We're finally done. This challenge took me a total of 61 hours, 57 minutes, and 40 seconds. This was incredibly tiring, so I just recommend playing these games casually. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments as this video took months to make. But with that out of the way, subscribe!